Ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars. Topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, where we discuss all the news in the world of basketball from college all the way up to the NBA, even WNBA, high school. I mean, we got it all locked here. And one street team.
Ballin'.
Ice Cube's going to start a 3-on-3 tournament this summer.
What?
You didn't know about this? Yeah.
No!
It's actually going to be on like Fox Sports, yeah.
Oh, in LA?
I would assume so.
I'm assuming
Wait,
so.
No. It's like nationwide.
Oh, I'm going. We got to go watch some of this.
It has like former pros in there, like AI's doing it. Chauncey
Oh,
Billups.
yes.
Yeah, like a 3-on-3. Honestly, I think it'll flop.
No, I'm going to make it stick.
I don't want to watch that anymore.
I do.
Oh, Kenya Martin, like, okay, great. I don't want to watch that.
I mean, I'll probably watch it once.
You know what I mean? It's going to flop.
I'll go watch it.
They have like a 5-point shot or something. I don't even know. Like, they have like, look it up. It's weird. I remember
Oh, my gosh.
Ice Cube was doing an interview, and like Roger Mason, the former Spurs player, he's like the like commissioner or whatever.
I do remember this.
I do remember an interview with someone, and they were talking about it, and I'm like, this just sounds so silly.
Why not? For the love of the game.
It sounds really silly, but nevertheless, we'll even cover some of that maybe. But anyway, this is, of course, the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Pauline and I are back in the studio here on a Monday to record another glorious episode. And we got a lot to talk about, Pauline. We got Final Four in the men's and women's game.
Yes.
Women's definitely going to take a lot of the first segment here.
Of course.
We have the NBA from last night as well as tonight to look at. A lot of storylines coming out of that. And then we'll, of course, talk some news in basketball to end the show. Derrick Rose, Pauline.
I know.
We'll get to
him.
him because I've not been his biggest fan throughout his time in the NBA. So we'll get to D Rose, but got to start off talking some college hoops. Let's talk about the women's game first, Pauline.
Let's get into it.
On Friday, we had the Final Four, of course. Stanford as well as South Carolina and Mississippi State against UConn. South Carolina did win against Stanford 62-53. Stanford really dominated the first half. They were up 29-22 at halftime. But the second half was where South Carolina really pulled away, especially in the third quarter. Outscored the Cardinal by 13 in that third quarter. Stanford really fell apart in that third quarter. So South Carolina advanced into the title game against the surprise of Mississippi State. Pauline.
Yes.
Not UConn.
The
111
That's
game
weird saying
streak.
that.
The 111 game streak is snapped. Mississippi State were 21-point underdogs. They overcome that in due part to a monster first half where they're up by as much as 18. UConn come back. The game goes to overtime. And Mississippi State wins it at the buzzer 66-64. Pauline, I had a feeling that when they got down, UConn would come back because they're just too good. You know what I mean? They're just too good to get blown out of the water like that. But when the game got close, I felt like, you know what? It was tied going into the fourth quarter. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if UConn lost this game.
Right.
Because they're never in that situation.
They don't know how to fight out of that.
They have won every game by at least 11 points this season. They don't know how to play from behind.
Right.
They don't know that
what it feels like to have like that pressure.
They don't know the pressure situation. They're never in that situation.
How to keep it together when you literally are freaking out pull it out.
So I felt like I wouldn't have been surprised Mississippi State won the game. And that's what happened. I mean, they won it at the buzzer, so could have gone to double overtime, of course, but that's great for, I guess you can say, the women's game. We're not going to have UConn winning it for their 5th time in a row. 5 times in a row. They're not going to win it now, which is obviously good, but UConn finally lose. Definitely really surprising. So then that goes to the title game yesterday, South Carolina and Mississippi State, and South Carolina wins it by 12, 67-55. Congrats to Coach Dawn Staley.
Yeah.
She was in the Final Four 3 times as a player for Virginia. Never won it.
Never won.
Second trip here to Final Four with South Carolina as a coach. She gets it done now, so 5 trips to Final Four. She finally gets a ring, although it'd be as a coach and not as a player. What's funny here is South Carolina did not even make a 3-pointer in the whole game. They literally did not make a 3-pointer the entire game, and they win by 12, which, given this day and age of the 3, which is honestly fantastic, but they only attempted 3 of them, only 0 of 3, and they missed all of them. So definitely an interior team, but South Carolina, I was not surprised that they beat Mississippi State because Mississippi State just had to exert all of their energy into beating UConn.
And they kind of had, in a way, I mean, it's not, and I'm not taking away from this game with the Gamecocks and Mississippi State, but you kind of had your championship game when you played UConn.
Exactly.
Because that's so basically what the championship game has been in women's basketball for the last 5 years. But then, they fought so hard and had to, stick with that game to defeat UConn that by the time you get to the championship game and this far into the season, I mean, I know that you're tired. Like, I get all that. But at the same time, they kind of had their... I mean, if I was a Mississippi State player, I'd still be fine. I'd be happy with our season. I'd be real happy with our season.
The last 5 teams to beat UConn in the NCAA tournament have lost their next game.
Yeah,
they just can't get up again after that emotional victory of beating a team like
UConn. A roller coaster of
It's literally David slaying Goliath, and then you have to go and win another game. Like, that's so tough. It takes so much out of you to beat a team like UConn. You just simply can't get it done anymore.
Yeah.
So I was not surprised that was the case. But nevertheless, South Carolina do defeat Mississippi State. They beat them in the regular season in the SEC as well. So not really surprised there. But definitely a good storylines coming out of Dallas. Now we shift over to the men's game now. We have Gonzaga taking on North Carolina tonight after what both these teams did on Saturday. So we'll get to that. Gonzaga defeated South Carolina 77-73 on Saturday. Gonzaga really in control for the majority of the game. They're up by 1 point at 18. But those gritty Gamecocks, Pauline, I called you Colin.
I know.
Pauline. Those gritty Gamecocks, Pauline, fighting back in the second half, down by 18. Actually take the lead at one point.
I like South Carolina.
I was rooting for them. They were the 7th seed, the underdog. I would have loved to have seen if possibly their men's and women's team could have done it at the same time.
That would have been really cool.
We saw that before with UConn. But they were fighting back. They had the lead at one point with maybe 5-6 minutes left. But Gonzaga, just too much experience going down the stretch. Nigel Williams-Goss had a stand-out game. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Shemet Karnowski chipped in with 13 points. And then Zach Collins, the freshman off the bench, 14 points and 13 rebounds. Going on with 6 blocks as well. He will probably be a one-and-done going into the NBA draft. But congrats to Gonzaga. They have proved you and I and the rest of the
I was going to say, I've been doubting them all season.
All year long, but they're in the title game now.
I've been doubting them.
One loss on the season. That's absolutely fantastic. So
what
we have
year.
that, and then North Carolina defeated Oregon 77-76, so definitely a close game, a 1-point game. But North Carolina were up for a majority of the second half. They had a 3-point lead at halftime. They would go up by 6, and then it would get cut to 2, then go back up to 7, then to 3. The Oregon just could not get over the hump. Tyler Dorsey really struggled in the first half, only had 4 points. Really bounced back in the second half. He had 17 in the second half to go along with 21 in general, but just could not really get it done. Jordan Bell, good game, 13 points, 16 rebounds. But the standout performer to me, Pauline, was definitely Kennedy Meeks for North Carolina. He had 25 points and 14 rebounds. He shot 11 of 13 from the field.
He was having a stellar game.
He really, really played spectacular on Saturday. Justin Jackson, the All-American, chipped in with 22 points. And now that takes us to tonight. So we have Gonzaga and North Carolina, 2 number 1 seeds, so chalk all the way out. Who you got?
I'm going with Gonzaga.
Okay.
Because I've been doubting them, hating on them, talking so much smack all year. And they've done nothing but proven me wrong. So I'm like, you know what? I have to give it to them now. Because they've done nothing but silence me all year.
They've done the same thing to me, but I'm going to go the other way. I'm going North Carolina. I feel like they're the best team in the Final Four. And I thought the winner of this game between Oregon and North Carolina
I do
was
remember
going
you saying
to
that.
win the tournament. So I'll go North Carolina tonight. The matchup I'm really going to look forward to tonight is Joel Berry against Nigel Williams-Goss. Nigel Williams-Goss, by far Gonzaga's best player, a really big physical guard, against Joel Berry, who I don't know how the guy's even walking right now because both of his ankles are definitely not 100%. He fought through it on Saturday. Did not shoot the ball well, and he shot 2 of 14. He did have 11 points, though. And he played 35 minutes, which I think is big, so he only sat for 5 minutes. So as far as playing, he's ready to go. How healthy he is, that's going to be the question for me. I think Nigel Williams-Goss will definitely get the better of Joel Berry tonight, but I'll still give the edge to North Carolina because they're just too much experience. They were in the title game last year. Justin Jackson was there. Kennedy Meeks were big contributors. Berry. So I'll give the edge to them. I do love that this game features guys who are not just freshmen. I mean, that have been around forever. Kennedy Meeks is a senior. Berry's a senior. Justin Jackson's a junior. Karnowski, I feel like he's been there forever. He's been there 6 years because of injuries. And then you have Nigel Williams-Goss, the transfer, who's a senior as well. So I am glad that you do have a lot of senior and juniors, a lot of experience, which is obviously good for the game. Because I feel like the one-and-done rule needs to change. Let people go out of high school. They go to college for 1 year. It's not even 1 year. They go for a semester and then drop out because they already know they're going to the league.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of that, but I do like that both these teams have got there with experienced leaders, so that's good. And I think it'll be a really close game, a really good game. It'll go down to the wire. I'll give the edge to North Carolina. Just simply been there before. Roy Williams, the coach, has been there before. And I think that's what's going to happen. But as always, Pauline will be back tomorrow to find out and recap
how exciting
what happens. I know, definitely a lot of fun.
I was itching this past weekend, though, when UConn lost over the weekend. I was like, I cannot wait to talk about this with Ben. Like,
that was crazy on Friday. They were down, and I told everyone that was watching the game with me, like, they're going to come back. They're too good to get blown out. And I only watched the first half, and they did in the second quarter and in the third quarter as well. And in that fourth quarter, I was like, you know what? I would not be surprised if they lose. They're just not used to these pressure, close game situations, and I feel like that's what ultimately did them in. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do from. It's okay.
Yep.
Just dropped her phone, but that's okay. From their next winning streak going on because they're bringing back a lot of players.
Yes.
And they're bringing in a really good recruiting class as well. So we'll take our first break on the show. After the break, we're going to talk about the NBA now. We do have
switching gears, some
storylines, some games to look at. LeBron James yelling at Tristian Thompson in their double overtime victory over the Pacers. Russell Westbrook gets triple-double number 40. And Steph Curry finally woke up from the three-point line. We'll talk about that as well as all other games and tonight's games in the NBA here at the GSMC Basketball Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back into the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. We're talking about the NBA now. Games from last night. We'll look in depth at a few of them, as well as the other games, and then preview tonight's games as well. So, let's get right into it. The Charlotte Hornets pick up a victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 113-101. Kemba Walker, 29 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. But the story of the game, Pauline, is Russell Westbrook gets his 40th triple-double of the season.
Yep.
Finished with exactly 40 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. Did have 8 turnovers, but as you mentioned, one behind Oscar Robertson for the most all-time in a season. He's got 6 games left to get 2 triple-doubles. He's going to do it, right?
Definitely going to do it. No doubt about it. If you doubt that Russ is going to do it, you're just, I don't know, you're just always playing the devil's advocate.
Of course, he's going to do it. He's got 6 games. He needs 2. There's no way. I'm sure his teammates will probably help him as well.
I was going to say, yeah.
With the rebounding, I guess. Like, I saw this story, and there was video as well, from the free throw line. You could tell that they're definitely helping him get rebounds. Because they're doing what they're told to do. They're boxing out.
But not
the big men, but they're not attacking the ball at the same time. So
they're letting it fall to him.
Here, Russ, I'll stop him, and you just go and run and get the ball.
Right.
So I mean, I'm not gonna take anything away from Westbrook. What he's doing is phenomenal, but
I
may not agree with his shooting and his shooting percentages. Last night, 14 of 31, so a little under 50%. He made 7 threes, which quite honestly is a lot, and 7 of 15 is a good percentage, but shooting 15 threes in a game. You're not Steph Curry, man. Come on, Russ.
He's
just
he's
stop.
Russ.
You're not Steph
Russ
Curry.
Westbrook. That's what I do. Yeah. That's what he does.
He's got an ego as big as a basketball.
40, 13, 13, and 10 with the turnovers.
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much. He had 8 last night, but he's
averaging
6.
A quadruple double.
Almost. I mean,
whatever. Give him the stats.
Also give the MVP to Harden. I think that the impact he's having on the team, as well as the way he's kind of adapted his game, leads the NBA in assists. I'll give the edge to Harden for the MVP, but, I mean, Kobe said a couple of days ago, I guess it was a week now, but co-MVPs, I mean, I see you're not too happy with that idea.
No, I hate the whole... Okay, go ahead, and then I'll...
You can't argue for either of these guys. Westbrook averaging a triple-double is phenomenal. Seems like every day someone else comes out to give an edge to one person or another. I mean, Scottie Pippen was talking about how Westbrook's having the greatest season he's ever seen. I mean, that can play with Michael Jordan. So that tells you what he thinks of Russ right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's so close. It's going to come down to the wire. The NBA came out and said the MVP is going to be announced on June 26th. So you're definitely going to have to mark that day on your calendar because... Definitely going to be a lot of talking points coming out of that vote.
But I don't like the whole idea of a co-MVP.
We've seen it in football. I remember one year Brett Favre was the co-MVP. I forget who he won that award with. I feel like Peyton Manning's done it a couple of times with someone else, but we've seen it in other sports. I'm not that big of a fan of it either. I just don't like the whole make everybody happy type thing. Yeah.
We're not Parks and Rec.
I don't really...
Not everybody gets a thank you for participating this year.
Yeah, I don't really like that idea either, but it's going to be a very close...
It's going to be close, yeah, definitely close.
You can still argue and say LeBron James for the year he's having. We'll get to LeBron now. The Cavs win 135-130 in double overtime against the Indiana Pacers. Paul George, we'll talk about him in the next segment because he deserves some All-NBA votes according to him, Pauline. So we'll get on that, but... 43 points and 9 rebounds for Paul George. But LeBron James, his 11th triple-double of the season, which is the most he's had in a single season in his career. The previous record was 7. He finished with 41 points, 16 rebounds, and 11 assists. 16 of 29 from the floor. Had a very, very good game. Kyrie Irving had 23 points, although he really struggled. 5 of 20 from the floor. J.R. Smith, 18 points. Kevin Love with 20 points. Had a very good game, going on with 12 rebounds as well. But the big storyline here, Pauline,
right,
is the Cavaliers' everything. LeBron James wasn't exactly too happy with a particular Tristian Thompson yelling at him on the sidelines during the game, during a timeout, just literally just
going
yelling
after
at the guy.
him.
I mean, LeBron did apologize after the game about yelling at Tristian Thompson, saying he kind of got carried away there. But, Pauline, I'll pose this question to you. Do you like LeBron getting very, very adamant and yelling at his teammates?
It's about time.
Think so?
Yeah. Somebody, I mean, everybody has different leadership styles. This is just more of his style, but it's like, get it together, and I don't think he's the kind of guy that, I think he's more like in the moment type aggression. Like, I definitely don't think it carries over as far as like afterwards or like later. He's not going to be like, oh, I hate Tristan type thing. Like, no, he's just like, let's kick it in.
I loved it too. I felt like it was, LeBron's really been frustrated lately.
Right.
Really I guess you say really all season long, talking about how he needs more help. They want a backup point guard, and now with how they played in March, they were 7-10 in the month of March. Mm-hmm. Really, really struggled in March, talking about how they need to get better. And I felt like LeBron's basically telling his team, like, okay, the playoffs are almost here. Let's like wake up and finally do something. Because right now we're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And LeBron is kind of, I feel like he's just kind of starting to rally the troops, and he's been really frustrated. He's like, okay, let's like knock this crap off and let's finally start playing basketball again. Because even yesterday, going to double OT with the Pacers are 7th in the Eastern Conference. So right now this is kind of looking as a first-round matchup, give or take how Boston and the Cavs both finished down the stretch. So this could be kind of interesting, but I feel like he's kind of like, okay, let's wake up and finally like get going, because we're not playing well and we should be playing a lot better than we are. So I loved it from LeBron James. I thought it was a really good
I'm not
gesture,
mad about that at all.
I'm not upset. These things happen. They blow over. They're never big
That's
deals.
what I'm saying.
So I didn't have an issue with it.
Not at all.
And then we'll move on really quickly before we just talk about some of the other games. The Golden State Warriors absolutely blew out the Wizards yesterday, 139-115. The Warriors scored at least 32 points in every single quarter. Steph Curry, 42 points, 9 of 14 from 3, 8 assists. The Warriors have now won 11 straight games without Kevin Durant, Pauline.
I know.
Are they better without him?
I was thinking that they were just going to be like adjusting without him, but 11 games, kind of. If I'm Kevin Durant, I'm a little bit like, I mean, how's this chemistry going to work when you know what I mean?
It took a little bit of a time for the Warriors to adjust without him. Remember, they really struggled when he first got injured against the Wizards. But now, I mean, they've kind of just found their gear, and I think this goes to show you that they probably should have not brought in KD. I mean, I realize, don't get me wrong,
it's a tough pill to swallow, but
if you have a chance to bring in the second or at worst third best player in the league, you're going to do it. I mean, seriously, you're going to do it. But I felt like it wasn't needed. The Warriors 2 years ago won the championship. Last year, they were a minute away from it because they were tied in the last minute in Game 7, then Kyrie hits that three-pointer to win the game, of course.
Right.
So they were a minute away from doing it again. They won an NBA best 73 games last season without Kevin Durant. Why even make a change?
Yeah.
You lost a ton of depth. You lost a lot of size inside with Bogut. That, quite honestly, JaVale McGee nor Zaza Pachulia can make.
Can really fit in, yeah.
So why even make the change at all? I think they're definitely showing that they're better off without him, because Steph Curry can finally be the leader and take this team under his control again. He took 22 shots yesterday. With Kevin Durant there, he's probably going to take 17 or 18 at most. Klay Thompson took 20. You're looking at 15 or 16 for Klay. So that Steph Curry is going to go away when KD comes back again. I don't think this was the best thing for the Warriors, and we'll see how they do. I'm going to be really interested to see how they do come playoff time.
Yeah.
Once Durant is back and
back
healthy,
in the mix.
Because they're playing so well without him. I mean, they're just
and it's like, do you
just
not play Kevin Durant?
No, you can't.
That's what I'm saying. So like, what are my options?
He's of course going to help the team, but I feel like they're better off without him, and they're kind of maybe realizing that now. But anyways, let's talk about some of the other games in the NBA from yesterday, Pauline. A lot of games on the schedule. The Celtics beat the Knicks 110-94. Isaiah Thomas, 19 points and 6 rebounds. Talk a little about the Knicks at the end of the segment there with Derrick Rose, of course. The Lakers defeat the Grizzlies at the Staples Center 108-103. D'Angelo Russell, 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's really been playing well, Pauline D'Angelo has. The Mavericks defeated the Bucks 109-105. Harrison Barnes had 31 points in that game. Giannis Antetokounmpo as well, 31 points, along with 15 rebounds and 9 assists. The Spurs win again, 109-103 over the Utah Jazz. Kawhi Leonard, 25 points, 7 rebounds in that game. The Bulls defeat the Pelicans 117-110. Jimmy Butler, 39 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Boogie Cousins had 26 points and 18 rebounds in that game as well. The Raptors defeat the 76ers 113-105. Serge Ibaka, 24 points and 6 rebounds. The Nets, they're playing phenomenal lately, Pauline.
Yeah, they have been.
They picked up their 18th victory of the season, 91-82. Brook Lopez, 29-5 in that game. The Nuggets defeat the Heat on the road 116-113. Danilo Gallinari, 29 points and 5 rebounds in that one. And then the Suns, they lose to the Rockets on the road 123-116. Patrick Beverley, 26 points, 9 assists and 8 boards. Tyler Ulis, the tiny little point guard from Kentucky, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. A very, very good game there for Tyler Ulis. And if you look at the NBA schedule for tonight, April 3rd, we literally have one game on the calendar, of course, because the NCAA basketball championship takes a lot of the ratings and everything. And in baseball tonight, today's opening day, so we have the T-Wolves taking on the Blazers. We'll take our last break on the show. After the break, we're going to talk about news in basketball. Paul George feels like he should be on the All-NBA team. We have our Naismith Player of the Year award. Georgetown are looking at a certain former alum as their new head coach. We have the Basketball Hall of Fame announced for 2017 and the latest Derrick Rose injury. All that coming up next at the GSMC Basketball Podcast.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Pacers forward Paul George, Pauline, feels like he deserves to be on the All-NBA team after his strong play down the stretch this season. What I mean, great game yesterday in double overtime, 43-9, as we mentioned.
Right.
But I think he's kind of getting a little bit of an ego, Pauline. This is what he said. He said, for contract reasons, I think the All-NBA team is important. But I'm not thinking about contracts.
Oh, not?
Oh,
really?
No, you're not.
Definitely not.
That's the
let's
first
not
thing
mention
said,
it. Yeah,
right?
let's. Yeah.
If my performance down the stretch lands me on the All-NBA, which I think I'm deserving of, then I'll be happy. Last month, Paul George did average about 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, and shooting 49%.
I love Paul George just because I love great comeback stories. So I'm always rooting for him. But you know,
I think he's. You know what, Pauline? I feel like I've learned a lot about Paul George since the trade deadline. Here's why I say that. Of course, prior to the trade deadline, a lot of rumors about him maybe going Celtics, Lakers.
Right.
And he came out and said, I will not sign a long-term deal here. I want to go to L.A. It's basically what he said. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, Paul George, I don't even think I know what your voice sounds like, and you're coming out and definitely being boisterous now. And now you're right after the All-Star break, got ejected from a couple of games because of technical fouls. It's like, I think he maybe is a little unhappy in Indiana.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I believe I should be on the All-NBA team because of contract reasons.
But not because of contract reasons.
It doesn't matter if you're on the All-NBA team or not. You're going to get a max deal. You're one of the best players in the NBA. But I feel like he's definitely getting a little unhappy in Indiana, Pauline.
Yeah, there's
no future there for him. He's not staying
there. He's getting restless, yeah.
They're not going to build a team around him. He's not staying there. He's going to leave. But All-NBA team, I think that's... Well, calm down there, PG. Maybe on like the second or third team at best. But you're not beating out LeBron.
I was going to say, but...
You're not beating out Steph.
Look who
Kawhi
we're
Leonard,
competing with.
James Harden.
Yeah.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas is having a fantastic year.
Yeah.
Like, second or third team, maybe. But first team, maybe slow down a little bit there, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that's happening. In college basketball, Kansas senior guard Frank Mason III has won the James A. Naismith Trophy as the best basketball player in college.
Mm-hmm.
Not really surprised. It was announced yesterday. He did win the AP Men's Player of the Year on Thursday. I felt like he really, really deserved it.
What a year.
He did beat out Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Caleb Swanigan of Purdue as well. Had a fantastic season, averaged about 21 points and 7 assists. And we'll see what happens from here. But I definitely feel like he did deserve that award. Mm-hmm. So congrats to Frank Mason III. Georgetown, of course, did let go of John Thompson III a few weeks ago. And now they're looking at Charlotte Hornets assistant head coach Patrick Ewing to fill that void. Patrick Ewing, of course, has been assistant now with the Hornets, but also with the Knicks, where he played. And he's alum of Georgetown. Good move to maybe bring him in as their head coach.
Why not?
I think it'd be a very good move.
Why not?
Especially in regards to recruiting a lot of big men. Of course, Patrick Ewing, one of the best big men of all time. Imagine getting tutelage and training from Patrick Ewing of all players. You know what I mean? That'd be phenomenal for a high school player who's trying to get into the NBA. Georgetown's definitely a great program. Been kind of down recently, but a lot of talent.
A lot of history in there.
You're looking at Patrick Ewing. You're looking at Allen Iverson, Jeff Green most recently, Roy Hibbert. So definitely a chance to go there and maybe learn from Patrick Ewing as a big man. That
is something. Yeah. Why would you pass that up?
Entertain. So
yes.
I think that'd be a very good move if that were the case. The Basketball Hall of Fame for 2017 has been announced. It is led by Kansas coach Bill Self. We have Rebecca Lobo, who was a UConn women's player. And the headliner is Tracy McGrady.
T-Mac, finally.
T-Mac is a Hall of Famer for this year.
Love T-Mac.
So Tracy McGrady, he said, I did get emotional. I did start crying.
Yeah.
I was trying to call my wife once I got off the phone when I found out, but my eyes were so watery and I was so nervous. And I just had to wait to make the right time. But Tracy McGrady, Hall of Famer. T-Mac, what do you remember most about him? I'm going to say...
When they came back and he had like 6 threes in like 2 seconds.
So he had that when he had that like Reggie Miller-esque with the Rockets. I'm definitely gonna remember his time with the Rockets most.
Yes, definitely the Rockets jersey.
That one stretch. I don't remember what year it was, but it's like every time you turn around, he had like 50.
Yes, you know Tracy McGrady.
That was
and his ugly shoes that he came out with, but every kid had them. Yeah, they were so ugly.
That was pretty dumb.
That was one pair of shoes I never got, and like those red and blue like patent leather ones with like the stripe on the toe. Ugh, so ugly. But my friends had them, but I was like, I cannot get these shoes. But I love T-Mac, but I was like, these are ugly shoes.
Yeah,
like, these are ugly.
When Latrell Sprewell had the spinner shoes, remember?
Oh my gosh,
yeah, those were pretty cheesy and corny as well.
But everybody had them.
Not me. I didn't get any pairs.
I just thought it was like hilarious, especially with those ones. Like after a while, when like the Sprewell, like the spinnies wouldn't spin anymore in your shoe.
When they stopped because they broke.
Because they were just like janky.
They were just like Payless shoes with a...
And like Chris Webber's Dadas.
I remember those.
This is classic. Loved it.
Growing
up was great.
Throwback Thursdays.
Growing up was great. You know?
So yeah, T-Mac, definitely happy to see him get in the Hall of Fame. I definitely deserve it.
Definitely exciting.
So AI, Shaq, and Yao Ming last year. Now we have T-Mac.
T-Mac, finally.
Definitely great there. And now let's get to Derrick Rose before the end of the show. Derrick Rose revealed that he tore his meniscus.
Yes.
He's definitely out for the season. Recovery time is 6 to 9 weeks. There's 5 games left. So D-Rose is definitely done for the year. His time in New York is definitely done. He's going to be a free agent. Will we ever see him back? Would you even take a chance on him next year if you're an NBA GM?
No.
No? Just
no.
Literally cross him off?
He's always hurt.
I am totally with you.
Always hurt. And I'm sorry, and it does stink. It does. but you're too big of a liability.
And it's not just the injuries. Like, this guy is literally
on court,
a distraction.
off court.
Remember, he was MIA, just
dips
AWOL
out
during the regular season.
So I don't know if you even can play or you will play, because whether your body is out of commission for a couple weeks or months, your mind's out of commission. So, and what has he truly like brought to the table besides, and like when we discuss Derrick Rose, it happens to be a lot with, you know, nothing real positive lately. So what, and especially, and I mean, and I hate having to say this kind of stuff, but it's just the nature of the game. So many younger guys are coming in. So many guys are, you know, getting older. I mean, Derrick Rose isn't necessarily old, but kinda. And now that he's so hurt,
he's really old.
His body's old, you know. So it's like, I don't know.
Of course, you have D Rose tearing these ACL in the 2011 season in the playoffs that year against the Sixers. Next year, he tore his meniscus after only playing 10 games. In 2015, he tore his meniscus. And then again now, I mean, he's looking for possibly a max deal in the summer, which is just literally absurd. If any general manager gives him that, they need to be, like, literally fired from their job. That'd be a 5-year, $150 million deal.
No.
That is all guaranteed
for
because,
you to
of course, this is the NBA. And never in my life would I give him even close to that. I would not take a chance on Derrick Rose at all. I said literally after he tore his knee that second time, so in 2013. Because he tore his meniscus after 10 games. I said after that I would have traded him then and there because his mindset is all screwed up.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL, right? And then he could have come back in the regular season that year and never did. So he waited a full entire another year to get ready. And then he tears his knee 10 games in. His whole mind is shot from that point in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now he has all this off-the-court stuff going on. And I would have traded him then and there. I think they did this literally 3 years too late. And they got nothing for him, so they finally got to just sort of start fresh and get that whole thing out of them, the Bulls. And then, of course, the Knicks take him on just for 1 year, get some money. Maybe they can sign a free agent this year. I don't know who in their right mind would go there to be with Phil Jackson, who just bashes the stars. But anyways, we'll see. But yeah, Derrick Rose, I wouldn't even take a chance on him. He wouldn't even be considered as a free agent next year for me.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so unfortunate for D Rose that he is injured again. He was phenomenal when he was healthy.
Because he was already shaky, I feel like, before this injury.
Exactly.
So you're already kind of shaky. This kind of like seals a deal for guys that might have been like, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Now it's like, that's how the rest of the season went. So that kind of caps it off.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. So it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Injuries are a part of the game. So that's going to be it for today, guys. My name is Ben.
I'm Pauline.
We are ending the GSMC basketball podcast. Pauline will be back in the studio tomorrow. Talking all things, probably a lot on
basically
college basketball games tonight.
Yep.
And we do have the one NBA game and some news. But we'll talk about all that tomorrow. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.